we now share to you what we expect in 2025 rest of the year, and for you to be able to start mapping already your 2026 strategy, no? So, just to share with you, ano ba yung pinaka-highlight ng mangyayari, no? So you can see that all over the world, interest rate has already been going down, and we expect this to further continue, no? So later on, we're also gonna discuss yung yung what happened dun sa US, no? Yung pinaka-latest ni Jerome Powell, and so far it looks like this September, no? Mukhang mag-rate cut na rin siya, no? So one of the biggest highlight in our discussion today is how do you now make sure you take advantage of that falling interest rates. Okay? So we also expect that the S&P to further continue to go up. So ever since January, the forecast that I've already shared was about 6,600. So even with the April to market crash, we still maintain that the US will continue to do well. No? So Asia will provide a lot of values, specifically China. Later on, I'll share them to you as well. Europe is going to continue to do well. Mga ano siya, hindi siya parang US na sobrang lakas or China, but maganda sa Europe is chillax-chillax. Ayan, chillax-chillax. Okay? We expect dollars to weaken further, especially with expected rate cut. Okay, gold, no, yung what I mentioned here is it will hit all-time high. But this was my thesis as early as nung January. No, at this price, do you think that this is already overpriced or tama pa? Meron pa bang upside yan? No, we'll talk about that later. Okay, of course, the worst place to be is in cash. No, if you're in cash, you'll actually get hit by a lot of yung tinatawag natin na reinvestment risk. Okay. So yan, yung pinaka-highlight no, that we're looking at. So as always, like in any economic outlook, we will always give you yung GDP forecast. No? GDP is so important kasi dito natin pinag-uusapan yung pace ng isang bansa. No? So we expect Philippines to hit about 5.8% GDP growth. And if you will notice, we expect China to do well as well. We expect that China will do about 4.7%. Kasi bakit? Kasi yung tariff, mukhang naging okay na sila, no? Hindi naman, it was not as bad as what we first anticipated it, no? So akala natin, ang unang mag-aaway is China and US lang. Eh, it turns out na si US pa lang, inaway pala niya yung buong mundo, no? Tapos, si China hindi pala niya masyadong inaway, no? So that's why we expect that China will even do well in terms of GDP growth. Okay? Now, in terms of inflation, dito ngayon medyo nagkakatalo. So we expect inflation of the Philippines will average by about 2.2 by end of the year. So ang pinaka-biggest na takeaway dito, inflation has already tapered down no? Significantly. In fact, from 2024 to 2025, we expect all across the board inflation to go down. So global inflation last year was about 5.7. This year, we're just looking at 3.4. Asia, on the other hand, 1.7, and we're even expecting 1.1%. So kasama yan, even Philippines will go down, no? So siguro what is a little bit more noteworthy here is if you see in China, no? In China, we expect that inflation will be zero. Now, people always have the perception na, uy, ganda nun na zero. But that's not necessarily good, no? Kasi if your inflation is too low, that means that you do not have much economic activities. So it might sound a little bit contradicting to what I mentioned earlier, na I expect China to do very well in terms of economic growth. But how come here, sinasabi natin, there's no inflation? Because the biggest weakness in China now is actually more on the consumption side. It's more on yung sa loob. No, but their export is still doing well despite the tariffs. They're still doing very well. So, as I mentioned earlier, the reason why I wanted to share Asia, kasi we expect Asia to do fairly better than the rest of the world. we expect that the growth will be more on Asia rather than on the US market side. So ang pinaka-biggest challenge originally, as I mentioned to you earlier, dun sa China, was actually the trade war. And it turns out that it was not as bad as it was. No? That's why our original forecast was only 4%, but now we're even looking at a faster growth in terms of China. So India, Indonesia, and Philippines, our impact is not that much. I know that we have yung ano that I've seen a lot of discussions over the internet na yung tariff natin is about 19%, umakyat pa, and so on and so forth. But the truth is, yung impact natin is not gonna be that high, no, compared to other country. We are not so much of an export-oriented country. We're more driven by consumption. Okay? So, in any country, in any investment, no, for you to be able to know whether that investment will do well or not, ang palagi mo tinitingnan palagi dyan, yung tinatawag na earnings growth. No? Kung gaano kalaki yung iakyat ng earnings niya. And this is a very good example that China is doing well. In fact, the earnings growth of China is about 8.5% this year. Just to give you a context, we were originally forecasting Philippines to hit about 8.8, then China is about 8.5. Can you just imagine, ang laki ni China, ganun pa rin kalaki yung kanyang growth rate. Okay, so these are just the breakdown of different countries. So you can see Philippine growth rate is going to be one of the fastest in the world. So just next to India. Okay, but of course, this data was crafted before the implementation of the 50% tariff in India. No, so that will definitely have an impact for India. So it might even turn out that the Philippine growth rate will even be faster than India. Okay? So, sorry mga kailangan natin tingnan kung ano mangyari dito sa US-China trade war. No? Though there is still, there's already a lot of clarity. Nevertheless, there will always be that risk on that side. No? Now, I want to address the elephant in the room. Palaging tanong sa akin doon, anong mangyayari sa Amerika with Donald Trump being the president? Does that mean that, yung dollars ba, hihina, hindi na magiging dollars yung global currency? Because of Trump ba, babagsak na yung magkakapasok ba magkaka-recession ba sa US, etc., etc. So the simplest answer there is you need to understand what Trump is doing, no? I may not agree with a lot of the things that he's doing, but let's just highlight ano ba yung pinaka-biggest thing that is happening now in the US. So the first one is basically the tariff. In fact, pag pinag-usapan natin yung tariff, yan palaging pinaka-ano basta, Donald Trump tariff, di ba? So is tariff bad for the global economy? Siyempre, definitely yes, because the costs will always go up, di ba? And even in the US, that can be inflationary, di ba? In fact, data show that there's already impact no doon sa inflation side ng US. So yung pinaka last data is what we call as the PPI or Producers Price Index. Ito yung mga cost ng mga companies no when they're buying the goods. So kung tumataas 'yon, ibig sabihin nun, you will expect that they will most likely pass that to the consumer later on. So that's why if you will notice the US market, though last night it hit an all-time high, hindi siya as aggressive as it was when 2023, 2024. Because lahat ng tao binabantayan yung expected inflation na mangyari in this trade war. Okay, but what a lot of people do not know, interestingly, is that may isang napakagandang bala ang US. And what is that? The tax cut, no? And you probably heard about it one way or another. It's called the Big Beautiful Bill. So just to give you an idea, what is this Big Beautiful Bill? Okay, Big Beautiful Bill actually started as early as noong 2017. So 2017. Noong 2017, it's called the TCJA or the Tax Cut Job Act of the US. So of 2017. So ano nangyari doon? Ang ginawa ni Donald Trump is across the board, yung corporate tax, at the same time, yung mga individual tax, binaba niya lahat. So you can see here, yung individual tax went down from 39.6 to 37, and the corporate tax from 35 to 21%. So ang laki ng binaba niya, right? Lalo na doon sa corporate tax. This single act alone was one of the biggest consideration. Why, if you look at the period where Donald Trump was the president, almost, no, no, not almost, every year, the US market hit an all-time high. Bakit? Kasi if you really look at it, Donald Trump is a businessman. So whatever he do, it benefits his business. So, of course, by that, it now benefits the businesses in the US. So guess what? Itong Tax Cut Job Act is a temporary bill, meaning mag-expire to. And incidentally, it will expire noong 2025, end of 2025 dapat. Bakit? Kasi nung pinas nila to, iniisip nila, okay, sige, si Donald Trump ang presidente ngayon, okay, pag nag-run ulit siya, okay, matatapos yung term niya ng 2024. Okay. Kung sino magiging bagong presidente after ng second term ni Donald Trump, siya na ngayon ang may say kung gusto niya gawing permanent to o hindi. Lo and behold, guess what happened? Ano nangyari nun? Natalo si Donald Trump noong second term, and guess what? Nanalo siya ngayon. So ironic, kung kailan mag-expire to, siya na naman ang bagong presidente. So sino ngayon magdi-decide to make this permanent or not? Well, no less than Donald Trump. So what do you expect will Donald Trump do? Obviously, he will push for this to become permanent. Now, guess what? Yun ang ginawa niya. And that is now what we call as the Big Beautiful Bill. What a lot of people do not know is other than ginawa niyang permanent, binaba pa niya. So now the corporate tax rate in the US is not 21%, it's now going to be just 15%. So you see, what's so interesting here is that now the US companies have the buffer. So kahit na yes, tataas yung cost of goods nila, kahit wala silang gawin, automatic dahil bumaba yung tax nila, yung margin nila for profitability already goes up. Okay, now whether the companies will absorb the difference or pass on to the consumer, that is something that we will look at in the next coming days and weeks. Okay? So of course, ang pinakakalaban dyan is tataas na naman yung utang ni US. Okay, so now that you know that, these are the 5 things that we expect on how you can now take advantage of the market. So the first one is positioning yourself in the lower interest rate. So, ano na yan? Very clear. If 2024 was a question of when it will go down, 2025 is a matter of how much it will go down. Okay? Now, most of the time, palagi tayo nakafocus sa US, which is fine kasi talaga naman si Fed naman talaga ang talagang binabantayan natin lahat eh. But the truth is, yes, even if US has not gone down their interest rate, the rest of the world has already done it. No, in fact, Philippines, ilang beses na tayo nag-rate cut. No, si US, hindi pa siya nag-rate cut this year. So that's why everybody's looking at September. Okay, now that you know na magkaka-rate cut siya, we now look at bonds. No, bonds is the best opportunity. If you look at in any investment, ang bonds ngayon ang may pinaka-direct beneficiary every time interest rate goes down. Why? Because there's an inverse correlation between bonds and interest rate. So as interest rate goes down, the bond price goes out. Okay, goes up pala, sorry. So again ulitin ko the bond price goes up. So yung process ng pagbaba, umaakyat ang bond price. Okay? So bakit bababa ang interest rate, no? So, sasabihin niyo sa akin, Melvin, hindi ba maganda nga interest rate para lahat tayo malaki kinikita natin sa investment natin? Well, yes, if you're an individual who is a saver, that's good for you kasi mataas ang interest rate. But remember, in the first place, bakit ko ba tinaas yung interest rate mo? Okay, you know what, guys? You know why? Because it all boils down because of inflation. So you see in inflation, ano nangyari noong 2022? Ano nangyari 2022? Nagkagera si Russia and Ukraine. What a lot of people do not know is Russia is the largest exporter of gas and Ukraine is one of the largest exporter of food. So ano nangyari nung naggera sila? Gas and food. Two biggest part in your inflation. So ano nangyari noong 2022? Needless to say, lumipad ang inflation. In fact, it went up as high as more than 10% in the European region, di ba? US hit almost 10%. Even Philippines, we hit about 9%. So ano nangyari dyan? So kung gusto mo bumaba yung inflation, Okay, so ano yung inflation? Supply and demand, correct? Supply and demand. Okay. So pwede mo ba sabihin, damihan mo yung supply. Okay, pag dumami kasi yung supply, edi ma-address mo na yung inflation. But ang problem mo sa supply is inelastic eh. Di ba? Hindi mo pwede sabihin kay Apple, oh Apple, damihan mo yung telepono mo ha, kasi maraming gusto bumili this year. They cannot do that kasi iisa lang yung makina eh. Di ba kahit anong gawin mo, iisa lang yung makina, ito lang yung capacity nila to produce. Correct? So you see, what's very interesting in inflation is it's harder for you to control the supply. So what you do is you control the demand. You control the demand. So okay, so ano mangyari dyan? For example, let's say si Abigail, kasi yung pinakauna nakikita kong pangalan dito. Si Abigail ngayon, papunta siya ngayon sa mall, no? Papunta siya sa favorite niyang ano, bag store, no? Yung Louis Vuitton, gusto niya bilhin yung Louis Vuitton, no? So guess what? Just before buying the Louis Vuitton, biglang tumawag sa kanya yung kanyang banker. Sabi sa kanya, Abigail, good news, meron tayong 15% na time deposit ngayon. 15%. O guess what? Question ko sa inyo ngayon. Kung bigla kayo sinabihan na may 15% na interest sa time deposit, bibili nyo pa ba yung bag? Some probably will, but most will probably no more. Hindi, next time na, ang ganda ng interest, tabi ko muna eh. So what happened there? What a lot of people do realize is, si Abigail ngayon, na-influence ko na. Na-influence ko na wag siyang bumili ng bag. So what happened there? Binaba ko yung demand. Binaba ko na yung demand. So ngayon, mababa na yung demand, pareho pa rin yung supply ko. O guess what? Ano mangyari sa inflation? Bababa na. Okay? So that's what happened. Kaya ang taas ang interest mo noong 2023, 2024 because of that one. Now, tingnan mo ngayon, nasa na inflation ngayon? Nandun ang bababa na, oh. In fact, si China zero, correct? Now, sabihin mo na naman ngayon, o sige, so what? Eh, di ba maganda nga yung mababa? No, hindi maganda ang mababa. Bakit? Kasi balikan na naman natin si Abigail ngayon. Guess what? Nadamay na naman si Adrian. Si Adrian, hindi ba siguro bibili ng bag, di ba? So si Eileen, sabi ni Eileen, hindi na siya bibili ng bag. Okay, sabi ni Ira, hindi na siya bibili ng bag. Guess what? Walang bumili ng bag. Kasi bakit? Lahat kayo, yung pera nyo nasa bangko. Tinabi nyo lang. Di ba? Ano mangyayari doon sa tindahan ng bag? Eh, di mawawala ng benta. Correct? O pag nawala ng benta yung may-ari ng tindahan na yon, magtatanggal na siya ng tao. Pag nagtanggal siya ng tao, yung taong tinanggal niya, mawawala ng trabaho, mawawala ng sweldo, aba hindi na makakain ka sa restaurant, hindi na makakain sa McDonald's or whatever, right? So, ano nangyari? It creates an economic chain. Di ba? So, anong gagawin mo? Ang gagawin mo, bababa mo na yung interest. Ayaw mo nang masyadong masaya si Abigail na ang laki-laki na nakukuha niya. Dapat binababa mo na yan para si Abigail ngayon, sabi niya, alam mo, bababa na yung interest eh. Dapat bilhin ko na siguro yung bag. O, guess what? Ano nangyari? You now increase the demand. So you see, interest rate drives behavior. Parang switch yan. Para siyang knob, no? Kung gusto ko pabilisin yung economy, gusto kong gumagastos kayo, bababa ko yung interest. Kung ayaw ko gumastos kayo, tataas ko yung interest. So ngayon, ano nakikita nyo? Ang baba na ng inflation. In fact, ang Philippines, ang inflation natin, 0.9 na lang. So ano gagawin natin? Aba, dapat i-dial in na natin. Dapat ngayon, gumagastos na kayo. Para gawin niya yon, ano gagawin niya? Bababa niya yung interest. Okay, I hope that was a good learning. No? Okay, ayaw mandar yung aking slides. Ayan, so nakita nyo, pababa na lahat ng interest rate, no? So, ito medyo mathematical to, hindi ko na pag-uusapan to. Basta isipin mo lang, ang interest, no, dapat nasa 3 to 4% lang yan. Okay? Okay, now, anong maganda dito? Gumawa kami ng sensitivity analysis. Kapag ang interest rate bumaba ng 0.75%, ang posibleng iakyat ng bonds is about 5%. So may sensitivity yan, no? So pag umakyat bumaba ng 1%, aba, 7% ang kikitain mo. But yung 7% na yan, market value pa lang, wala pang interest yan. So kung interest ng bonds mo is about 5%, tapos may 7% na upside, aba, 12% ang kikitain mo. Not bad, right? Yan. Okay. Ano pa? Pag pababa ang interest, di ba naririnig yung palagi si Warren Buffett, sinasabi nila, si Warren Buffett, oh, yung pera niya lahat nakakash lang. Okay, when you say yung pera ni Warren Buffett nakakash, hindi po totoo na nasa bahay lang yun na puro bulto-bulto ng pera, ha? Pag sinabi mong nakakash yun, nakalagay sa tinatawag natin na treasury. Very liquid. Pwede ko ibenta bukas, pwede ko i-reinvest bukas. So nakalagay sa treasury, kumikita naman yun. Pero bakit yun nilalagay sa cash yun? Dahil ba natatakot siya, baka mag-collapse ang US market or whatever? Hindi. Kasi sabi kasi ni Warren Buffett, bakit ako magte-take risk sa equity market kung kumikita naman ako ng 5%? Doesn't make sense, right? So lagay ko na lang dito, sure na sure ball ako, 5% kinikita ko. Tapos, correct? Pero ito yung problema dyan. Ngayon, masaya siya at 5%. Pero pag naging 4% na yan, mag-iisip-isip na yan, ako, ang liit na pala ng kinikita ko. Bumaba na naman 3%. Ako, hindi ko na pwedeng iwan sa cash to. Wala na akong kinikita, 3% na lang magagaling yung stakeholders ko. Correct? So, ganun din kayo. Pag pababa na ng pababa yung interest, natataranta na kayo, saan ko pwedeng ilagay yung perang yun? Correct? And guess what? JP Morgan just forecasted, if the US interest rate went down by just 1%, guys, 2.3 trillion dollars from money market, ha? Lalabas yan. Lalabas, maghahanap ng bagong investment yan. Kesyo bonds, stocks, and so on. Maglalabas yan. They will now look for higher yielding investments. Okay? So, ganito kalaki ang pera sa money market ngayon. It's about close to $8 trillion. Okay? So, go for stocks. We still believe that the US market will continue to do well. In fact, our forecast is about 6,600 pa. No? So, good upside pa rin. But more importantly, we're also looking at China. No, China, ang pinaka-difference ng China sa US, if you look at the global market, ano ang pinaka-hot ngayon? Ang pinaka-hot ngayon are the techs, mga AI, AI, naririnig nyo lahat yun, di ba? Pag tinanong ko kayo about AI, pinakaunang isipin nyo, Nvidia, isipin nyo si Microsoft, isipin nyo si Amazon, etc., etc. But what you do not realize is that halos lahat ng sinabi ko sa inyo, may equivalent sa China nun. Di ba? The likes of SMIC or the semicon manufacturing of China, nandiyan si Alibaba, nandiyan si Tencent, etc., etc. And if you compare the two, the value of the China shares is less than half. Ganun kamura yung China market. Okay? So that's why we're also looking at China as one of the best market to go into. Okay? And ladies and gentlemen, by 2050, he will already overtake the US as the largest economy in the world. So it doesn't really make sense if you don't have China in your portfolio. Okay? Okay, so sell dollars. So we believe that dollars will further weaken because of the interest rate decline. So pag si US ngayon nagbaba ng interest rate, naturally, yung bawat bansa lalakas naman ng kanyang currency. Bakit? Because interest rate is directly proportional to the strength of the dollars. So meaning, pagpataas ng pataas yung interest mo, palakas ng palakas yung dollars mo or yung currency mo. Bakit? Kasi kung mataas ang interest rate mo, ang tendency ng tao is papasok siya sa pera mo. So for example, balikan na naman natin si Abigail, no? Siguro si Abigail, kanina pa niya nakakagat yung dila niya, no? So si Abigail ngayon, pinapili ko siya. Sabi ko, Abigail, meron kang 1 million pesos. Yung 1 million pesos mo, kikita ka ng 4%. Yung dollars mo, pag pinalit mo ito dollars, kikita ka ng 5%. Ano sa tingin mo gagawin ni Abigail? Ang gagawin ni Abigail, papalit niya yung pera niya sa dollars. Kasi mas malaki kita niya doon eh. So you see, ganun ang relationship ng interest rate at dollars na naman. At currency pala, sorry. So ang galing, di ba? Halos lahat ng investment, isa lang ang kanyang kailangan mong bantayan. Ano ang galaw ng interest rate? Alam mo na kagad kung ano mangyari for the different types of assets. Okay? So in fact, this what we call as the Hamburger Big Mac Index. So kailangan ko pakita to kasi ginawa to ng 11 years old ko na anak. Siya talagang pumunta sa website ng bawat country. And ito sinasabi niya dito, pag bumili ka ng Big Mac, no, sa US, it will cost you about $5.69. No, para mas maintindihan ninyo, pag sa Pilipinas ko binili yon, that's 179 pesos. That's just about $3. So, ibig sabihin nun, the Philippine peso is so undervalued compared to the US dollars. So, that's why when US dollars weaken, so that's why we expect that the US dollars will weaken. Okay, but again, do not expect na magiging 31 ha. Kasi baka nakita niyo dito kasi yung computation ko 31. Hindi. This is just very straight, but hindi siya ganun ka, hindi, wag ka masyadong umasa na 31 yan. Okay? Yan. Okay, go for gold. Ito, nung ginawa namin to, We were expecting that gold to hit all-time high no start of the year. And it did, no? Now, you have to remember, gold is opposite of the stock market. So, ang gold, maganda lang yan if there's high uncertainty. So, kapag nagbati-bati na yan, si US nagbati na kay China, etc., expect gold to go down. So, if I were you, I will not put a lot on gold now. Okay? Unless na sabi sa'yo ng wife mo na kailangan niya ng alahas. Okay? So, a happy wife is a happy life. Okay? Yan. Okay, so about real estate, palaging tanong sa akin to. So, real estate, we are selective, no? Selective kami. So there are properties that we think that will do well. Our most favored are the properties has something to do with logistics, with data centers. Yan, okay yan, no? In terms of residential, okay rin yan kung yung lugar nyo ay high multifamily senior and student housing. Yan ang pinaka-best, no? So, ironically, if you look at it, these are the area that are mostly in the metropolis side. Okay? Okay, let's go to the Philippines. No, let's go to the Philippines. So, sa Philippines, I will not discuss a lot anymore kasi I'm sure ang dami nyo na naririnig sa Philippines. So I'll just go through this briefly. So again, we expect that the GDP of the Philippine market will continue to do well. No, our inflation has already been going down. That's exactly what I was mentioning to you earlier. So ano pinaka-biggest challenge natin is yung tinatawag natin na twin deficit. So yung tinatawag na fiscal deficit saka yung current account deficit natin. So meaning, mas marami tayong ginagastos na peso kaysa nauungkat na dollars. So that will put a lot of pressure on your Philippine peso. Okay, so yes, we expect that the US dollars will weaken, but in terms of peso to the US dollars, peso may not strengthen as much as other currency. Because ang pinaka-biggest problem natin nga is puro deficit tayo. Okay? So, our debt to GDP is very healthy. So, I always hear this in Facebook. Sinasabi nila, Melvin, kawawa naman yung pamilya ko. Sa laki ng utang ng Pilipinas, hindi pa pinapanganak, may utang na. Okay? So, totoo ba yon? Well, okay, yes. But the truth is, you have to understand debt correctly. No? So, what do you mean by that? So, totoo yon, malaki utang natin, and every year it's going all-time high. But so the rest of the world. Lahat naman nag-all-time high, di ba? But you need to understand how to interpret debt. So for example, meron akong dalawang tao, no? So yung first one, ang utang niya is 500,000. Yung pangalawa, ang utang niya 10,000 or 20,000, yung pangalawang utang niya. Okay? So ano nangyari doon? So yung pag tinanong ko sa inyo, sinong mas delikado sa dalawang yon? Ang una sasabihin nyo sa akin, delikado yung 500,000, laki ng utang eh. Correct? But you see, ladies and gentlemen, ang hindi nyo naintindihan is, yung una pala, yung 500,000 ng utang niya, 1 million pala kinikita niya kada taon. Samantalang yung 20,000 yung utang niya, ang kinikita pala niya taon-taon is only 10,000 pesos. O pag tinanong ko ngayon kayo ulit, sino mas delikado pala? Yung may utang na 500,000 pero kumikita ng 1 million, or yung pangalawa na utang niya ay 20,000, kumikita ng 10,000 lang. Hindi ba yung pangalawa pa pala ang mas delikado? So palagi nyo tinitingnan kasi yung utang. Ang hindi nyo tinitingnan, yung tinatawag natin yung kinikita natin. So if you want to be more accurate, huwag nyo titingnan lang yung utang. Ang tingnan nyo yung tinatawag natin na debt to GDP. So ang debt to GDP natin is about 60%. And we are expecting 2025 to hit 63%. Malaki ba yon? Okay. So, if you look at it in the context of our past, yes, because at some point in our history, we even went down as low as 39.5%. But now, let me give you another perspective. Pag tinanong ko kayo, anong bansa ba para sa inyo ang feeling yung napakatibay? Ito ang sigurado ko lalabas. Sabihin nyo sa akin, Japan, Singapore, America, China, etc., etc. What you don't realize is that the debt to GDP of Japan is 270%. The debt to GDP of Singapore, about 170%. The debt to GDP of China, nearing 100%. The debt to GDP of US, it will hit 150%. And guess what, guys? We're only at 60. We're only at 60. Okay? So does that mean that we're better off than that? in terms of debt to GDP? Yes. A resounding yes. Okay? Okay, so our unemployment is very low. Our OFW remittance continue to go up. Ito ang napaka one straight line. Tingnan nyo, the only time na bumaba yan noong 2020, nung na-pandemic. And the only reason for that, kasi nagsarado lahat ng remittance center nung first half of the year. After that, it's just one straight going up again. So the biggest advantage of the Philippines is our OFW remittances. Now, ito yung pinaka-reason bakit yung market natin is not doing well. Because unfortunately, our foreign ownership in the Philippine market has been going down steadily. In fact, it is already at an all-time low. Sobrang baba ng foreign ownership ng Philippine stock market, ng foreigners sa Philippine stock market, no? So, if you are a speculator or what you're looking at is more on the stock market, this one will impact you a lot. But if you are a person na more on, para sa bansa, this was more important. Ang tawag dito ay FDI or Foreign Direct Investment. Ang difference ng yung nauna, ang tawag doon ay hot money. So papasok yan, akit yung stock market mo, paglalaruan ka, tapos lalabas ulit, babagsak na naman. Ito hindi. Pag pumasok tong perang to, nasa Pilipinas na yan. Ano to? Yung pera na paggawa ng building, pera dahil may ginawang factory, and so on and so forth. These are permanent investment. This is what you want. So you see, to give credit where credit is due, our foreign direct investment is doing fine. It's not great, but it's fine, especially if you compare it to other countries. Okay, now, I always add this in my slide kasi it was one of those controversies that I heard nung time na pinas yun. So, sabi na 2025, laki-laki daw ng budget natin, blah, blah, blah. Okay, so para lalo kayong ma-shock, okay, ito po yung budget ni Pinoy. Ito yung budget ni Pinoy nung 6 niyang taon. 14 trillion pesos. 14 trillion. Okay, malaki ba? Yes, malaki yan. Now, ito naman yung panahon ni Duterte. Sa tingin nyo, mataas o mababa? Yes, mababa. Ay, mas mataas. In fact, almost double. Almost double, no? So, this was a build, build, build. I'm sure kasama na dyan yung flood control, etc., etc., di ba? Now, guess what? Magkano kaya kay BBM? Okay, on his first 3 years, there, 17 trillion already. So yung first 3 years ni BBM is already exceeding the entire 6 years of of Pinoy, di ba? And if we just follow yung growth rate ng kanyang national budget, we expect in the next 3 more years, yung buong 6 years niya will most likely hit about 38 trillion. So interestingly, it's the sum of the Aquino and the Duterte combined. No? Now, yes, it can sound alarming, but there's another way of looking at this. Remember, every time the government spends, it creates economic activities to everybody. In fact, the more na gumagastos ang gobyerno, the more that companies makes money. Bakit? Kasi at the end of the day, lahat ng ginastos ng gobyerno will end up nagagastusin ng mga tao, 'di ba? End up igagastos niya sa isang kumpanya. So for example, ikaw, 'di ba? Ikaw yung contractor ng gumawa ng kalye, 'di ba? O, dahil maraming budget ngayon yung gobyerno gumawa ng kalye. Gumawa siya ng kalye, kung nag-hire siya ng contractor, yung contractor naghanap ng mga empleyado. Yung mga empleyado nagkasweldo. Nagkasweldo, gumastos. So you see, it will always end up that money in the business sector. So why is this very important? Because if you understand this, how much the government is spending, look for companies that is more or very consumer related. Okay? So yung reserves natin, kailangan ko lang ilagay ito kasi sabi nila nawawala rin yung gold natin binibenta. No, our gold is going up. So this the Philippine stock market. Alam ko ito sa mga palagi niyong tanong sa akin, no? So if you look at the wavy lines, no, those are the PEs. Those are the PEs. So nung 2024, na wala pa yung number 9, nakita niyo yung color blue sa baba, wala pa yan dati, wala pa yan dati. Na sobrang mura ng Philippine stock market. Nung start ng 2025, kailangan ko na ilagay yung 9 na PE kasi nga sobrang mura na niya. Okay? Now, if you're just looking at kung gaano siya kamura, okay, if the Philippine stock market, okay, yung earnings pa lang ng company, yung earnings pa lang ng company, hindi tataas o bababa yung PE. Same value, tumaas lang yung kita ng mga bawat companies, your index should already hit 7,000. I know we're kind of far from that level, but the point here is, if you look at the worst value of the Philippine market, that should be about 7,000. Now, is it gonna happen by end of the year? Of course, that's another question altogether. I'm here and sharing to you in terms of value. In terms of value, ganun siya kamura. So, any price that is below 7,000, that just means one thing. It's even cheaper than last year in terms of value. Bakit? Kasi yung kumpanya lumalaking kita eh. But if you're buying it at the same price, pero lumalaking kita niya, ano yung sabihin nun? You're buying it cheaper. Okay? Now, how cheap is the Philippine market? So let me share to you our peers in Asia. So Malaysia, Philippines, Singapore, Thailand, etc., etc. Look at the PE, guys. Philippines is at 10.85. So practically, one of the cheapest. No? Ang nakatalo lang sa kanya is Korea. So, ganun kamura ang Philippine market. Okay? So, if you're gonna position yourself in the Philippine market, it's really more on the value. It's really more on the value that the Philippine market is really very cheap. Okay? So, I think that's basically my presentation for this afternoon. I understand that the Q&A will be tackled later on. So, thank you everybody, and